This is the house that Miles built. Miles Gillis and his young family lived at 2135 Pleasant Valley Road, just outside of Antigonish. He was employed at Westray Mines in Plymouth. 1 week before the Westray mine disaster, Miles told his wife, Isabel, specifically where the danger in the mine existed and told her his escape plan.
If he was on that shift, he said it would probably happen in here in the southwest section. And he was saying, I just pray to God that when it happens, if I'm on the shift, that I can get out here. And he figured he would be hurt.
His escape plan was not effective. Miles, along with 25 other miners, lost their lives underground that day. 2135 Pleasant Valley Road, Miles' old home, is the house I was raised in. I feel a special connection to the Westray legacy because of my connection with the house that Miles built. In 1991, my grandfather's first cousin, Carl Gupta, was hired to come work at the new mine development in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. He had a passion for mine safety and had been a big part of occupational health and safety teams, as well as being trained and even competed in mine rescue. Carl took issue with the state of Westray Mine from the very start. He tried to decline work for fear of his personal safety, and he was told, there are thousands of men ready to take your place. On December 8, 1991, he was only his 18th shift at the time. He was forced to work without a properly working headlamp. Working in the dim light of other miners' lamps, he tripped on a steel plate, and the steel arch he was moving fell on top of him. His supervisor was heard to say, "This is World War III down here. There is bound to be casualties." Carl talked with those who would listen. He reported concerns to the mine inspector. He was later told since his information had not gone through proper channels, it could not be acted on. When inspectors visited the mines to learn more about the events, mine management always stayed present for the conversations. Westray's management team was not open to Carl's feedback, and they labeled him a chronic complainer. The findings of the Westray report don't support this, as he shared a mutiny of safety deficiencies during his Westray testimony in the inquiry. After his incident, Carl was reassigned to light duties above ground. That lasted only a few weeks. He was let go from the mine on January 22nd. The mine management and government authorities were unwilling to listen to my grandfather's cousin Carl, or anyone that reported safety concerns. They forced people to work in very dangerous situations. People in places of authority pointed fingers at everyone else. Individuals pointed to the system's issues, and no persons were handed responsibilities for wrongdoing. And this is where Westray mine disaster brought about legal changes to the system that not only impacted my immediate community in Pictou County, but also mining communities across the country. Westray law created a new legal duty. All persons directing work or having the authority to direct work must take responsible steps to prevent bodily harm arising from work. Had this law been passed in 1991, the supervisor that forced Carl to work in the near dark could have been found criminally responsible for the injury, and every one of the managers and bosses to CEOs leading up the chain, from those on-site supervisors, could also be held criminally responsible for the pressure they put on those below them. Now, my brother, Isaac, age 21, works underground in a power plant as a millwright apprentice in Wreck Cove. He is trained to work in confined spaces, which can be dangerous work if not done following the rules. I asked him if he feels safe at work. He said yes. I asked him if he didn't feel his situation was safe, would he feel pressured to do the work anyway? While he was not aware of the Westray law specifically, he knew he had the right to refuse any unsafe work. This is evidence that the Westray mine disaster had an impact on workers' ability to ensure their own safety. Perhaps this is a part of a societal change where people are taking their own responsibility to keep people safe as an assured part of their job. Regardless of whether they know the specifics of the Westray law and how it came to be, that is a sign of true impact, when the change becomes a societal normality. The changes to the criminal code has not fixed all wrongs. The United Steelworkers Union reports that in the 20 years since the law was put into place, it has been utilized in 26 serious worker injury or death situations, with charges being laid against 16 corporations and 18 individuals. There have only been 11 successful prosecutions, and the sentences have not been very substantial. Considering there are roughly 1,000 deaths in Canada a year with work-related causes, this is a very small percentage, and there's still work to be done. To me, the legacy of the Westray mine disaster is the responsibility it has given those in authority to protect workers, like my brother, Isaac. It is believing that those like Miles Gillis, who knew the mine was an explosion waiting to happen, might have their verses sought out instead of stifled. It is the honor of knowing that a family member, having only worked at the mine for 18 shifts, was trying to shake the system and make it safe for everyone underground. The Westray mine explosion happened 32 years ago, 14 years before I was born. I no longer live in that house that Miles built. My family has moved on. Miles' 3 young children, however, have lived the rest of their lives without their father. For Miles and the 25 other men who lost their lives, we will continue to work to improve the system to ensure your legacy lives on.